This is Becton 99 talking to you from the void. I wanted to talk about the Fantastic Four. I thought the director was very talented. I liked the retro stylings. I mean, to a certain degree, these film companies, they know how to do period pieces, but the costuming, the staging was all top notch. And I guess the locations and the sort of the set dressings and the costumes here were done expertly. It seems like they spent a good deal of money to make everything look, um, look retro, but sort of not really futuristic, but it had that vibe. So I appreciated all that. Um, when I first saw the trailer, I did not like the design for the thing, but I really watching the CGI. I was kind of surprised how well he blended in the other with like the other characters, the other actors. It didn't look too jarring, and I guess that we're kind of used to that now. Like we're used to um, Thanos there and the Hulk and whatever. So we come a long way in terms of CGI. Um, I liked the guy's voice who played the Thing, the guy from The Bear and other properties. I guess he's also in The Punisher. I would love to hear how Disney, or Marvel's gonna explain that, and the continuity of it all, because he's obviously still alive in The Punisher, and so I don't know. We'll see. We'll see how they work that out. But it's like, well, if he can do that, then let's get Jonathan Majors back in. You see how easily I can work that in there. But the idea is, if he can play that part and this part, and the audience can understand that things are different, then I'm for more repeat casting. I thought like the new Supergirl. This is a side note to the side note. The new Supergirl, she's cute. Low key baddie, but the girl that was in the Flash, I felt like she didn't get a proper shot at the role. I liked her costume. I liked her strong female haircut that she had. It looked good on her. Um, if there was ever a reason to watch the Flash movie, and I don't think this is a strong enough reason, I think I might just Google her picture from time to time. But she was worth it. Just she was fine. She was fine. She's everything I wanted. Some people griped about her being Latin, but I wasn't mad. Um, but let's get her in another DC movie. James Gunn put her in Peacemaker or something. It's not her fault that they stuck her in a bad movie. So that's kind of how I feel. So the fact that the guy's in The Punisher and he's in this movie doesn't confuse me, you know. Um, and it'd be interesting if the Fantastic Four ever meet the Punisher, because then they're like, what would that be like? But neither here nor there. Um, the guy who plays the Human Torch, he was in Stranger Things. Is the first time I saw him. He was awesome in that. It made me cry. I shed some pimp tears for his character. Spoiler alert. Um, is that how that works? Hope so. Um, Vanessa Kirby, she did good. Her accent was you couldn't tell that she was putting on an accent, but you can tell that the voice that she wanted to adopt was sort of a stern woman, a little bit. Like her accent isn't obviously let's say like Valley Girl, or she's not sounding like she's from New York or whatever. Like she found this voice within her own range to sound, intelligent, confident, and all these things. So it was interesting, hearing her do that. And then obviously it's not that much of a stretch because her 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 real voice is British, but like she is an actress, and so she's kind of, in these spaces where she can be, elegant and talk and things happen, when she puts her debit card down, she's confident it's not gonna run out or whatever, so she has some experiences with being elite, right? And you just transfer that over into this character who's supposed to be intelligent and confident, and on top of that, she read the script, right? So she knows the gist of where the character's going, and the character is always going to be in control because the person playing it is in control, and they know that the whole set and setup is built around showcasing how capable this woman is. Pedro Pascal, he really impressed me in Game of Thrones when he did like pretty much like he had a little accent. To me, he was like Zorro. And so that was my introduction to him, and I liked him. In this movie, he showcased his ability to blend in a bad way. Like I would have loved to seen Mr. Fantastic be played by the person who played him in Doctor Strange, the guy who directs The Quiet Place and stuff like that. I would have loved to seen his part because the rumor, how it got to me through whatever channels I looked at very briefly, he had ideas for the role. I mean, he's a director, right? He's a filmmaker now. He's been in television for a long time. Now, we're not saying that this was his childhood dream role that he's been thinking about it for like 30 years, but he had some insights and or character notes, if you will. Disney didn't want to do what he wanted to do with the part, so he doesn't show up in the new movie, right? That's how I see it. So, and I could be wrong, but who's going to tell me that I'm wrong in the sense where it would be Disney or a media affiliate that has that wants to be down with Disney, or affiliated, So of course they're going to tell the story one way, but I'm just saying I've seen enough air quote creative differences to know when the artist doesn't come to the table. Same thing with the Black Panther was not going to be directed by Ryan Coogler. It was going to be directed by a couple other African American directors who had notes. Disney didn't want to follow those notes. They found a black director who was going to do what they said, and I'm not saying that in a bad way, but the idea is the bad connotation on that is toward Disney. Because if I was a director and I'm like, yo, I can make the Black Panther amazing. I want him to do this and that and maybe kill 1,000 clear people. And Disney's going to say no, So I don't know what the other black directors were, willing to walk away from the project for. I don't know. But that's what it kind of seems like to me with this Mr. Fantastic role. Pedro Pascal, I don't know how I feel about him going forward, but the rest of but I'm just gonna keep it to this film. I don't hate Pedro Pascal, but I wish he wasn't in the movie. And then I wish that there was like maybe like Brad Pitt could have played the part. Somebody. But I felt like the script to showcase Sue Storm, they toned down Mr. Fantastic, and he never spoke in public really. I mean, once or twice he did, but the girl speaks at all the important times. She does everything, whatever, whatever, whatever. Then going to the part where the Silver Surfer, I did not like the casting. Watching the performance, I still didn't like the casting. I still prefer the male version of the Silver Surfer, and even though the graphics are a little, they're very dated, but I loved the way he was carved or sculpted in the second Fantastic Four with Chris Evans in it. So watching this lady play the Silver Surfer, I still wasn't convinced. I think they should have made her bald. Especially because like they're in other roles they'll give a woman a short haircut or whatever. I'm not gonna go too deep into that, but make her bald, and she can still be a lady. Make her bald. I just think the hair I didn't like the hair. No. So that the Silver Surfer to me was a wash. I don't want to see the character in another movie. And I think they kind of, I don't know. I guess in this one, I felt like, to a certain degree, I want the Silver Surfer to appear hella powerful. Like, that's part of the tragedy of the character initially when it's still tied to Galactus, is that it's this crazy powerful being that, decided or told itself that there's no way I can beat this guy. So I have to do what he says to save my homeworld, or whatever the backstory is that we're rolling with. And so that's a tragic figure right there, because the person, A, doesn't want to do it. And then B, if they weren't working for this guy, how amazing could they be, right? So when when it comes to Galactus, I never really had any vested interest in Galactus. I never really read the comic books, and I don't, he's a big bad character, but just more so like in the olden golden age of comics, where he's just, I am Galactus, and you're like, oh, whatever, but how menacing is he, and it's, so I did, it was a good warm up to whatever they're working towards, I guess you can say. Within the context of the film, they have a baby. The baby is like special to me. It just kind of reminded me of the Jack character from Incredibles. I'm not excited about the kid being involved in this series or in the other movies, because I just hate precocious kids in films. Like The Walking Dead, Carl, and whatever the hell his sister name is called. I hated them just saying, "Come on, guys, do the right thing," and I'm young, but I know a lot, whatever. So I'm not enthused about them having a kid running around with them or whatever. Then I guess the last thing that I'll cover in this it is a spoiler review, but I'm not going straight down the line in the movie. I like seeing the Natasha Lyonne lady in this film, because it's like most of her roles in the last like decade or so, she's been eccentric kind of. So it was nice to see her try to play like just like a sweet woman, who may or may not smoke cigarettes, because she smokes cigarettes in all her other parts. But I feel like this character was trying to be a little more wholesome. So that was kind of funny, trying to see her be like a love interest to the Thing. And then, I like the fact that they kind of skimmed over the body horror part of that for him. I wish they would have focused on that a little bit. I mean, obviously you don't want him sad the whole movie, but it would be, that's one of the interesting parts of his character is how he reconciles that his body has been transformed into something that can be seen as I guess mutinous, if we're making up words. But they kind of skipped over that. I liked his little cooking thing. Kind of gave you a little homage to the bear. But I thought that was kind of funny. Oh, the guy from that plays the Human Torch, great actor. Stranger Things made me cry. He was miscast. Um, they should have got a handsome fellow, like undeniably handsome. They didn't want to do that. For I don't know what the reasons are. The dude that played Adam Warlock or something in the Guardian Galaxy 3, Will Poulter. Don't know why they cast him. The Immortals, they got the comedian dude, the Indian, or I don't even know if he's Indian, but not trying to assume his race, but that guy. They could have got a dude who was like of that ethnicity, but was hot. They're not really into doing that right now. So I don't know. I think superheroes should be beautiful. And they're casting, for the most part, they're casting the girls to be baddies, but the dudes are just like, just give me any old guy. But, and I guess by the end of the movie, I was more impressed by the direction. Um, they kind of turned her powers up, Sue Storm, a lot. I'm not gonna even complain about that, but it just makes me wonder about the scaling, because it's like, okay, sure, she's always had like a force field, but now her force field can push Galactus, 6 blocks, and he can't get out of it. So are we saying that her force field is it stronger than Professor Xavier's telepathy? Is it stronger than Jean Grey when she turns into um the Phoenix? It's like, where are we drawing the line on how powerful she is? And I felt like the movie had no problem showing how strong she was, but then if you, by comparison, you go to Captain America, A Brave New World, the film series is still afraid to give Anthony Mackie the serum. I thought it was dumb when Captain America went back in time and didn't bring him the super soldier serum. Let him be strong. Um, and then after watching this movie, I just said, why did they even give him that script for Brave New World? It's like the least interesting things about Marvel are the spy shows, like the one with Samuel Jackson was bad or uninteresting, and then this one, and then Brave New World. I would rather watch the Fantastic Four again, as opposed to the Brave New World, because there's nothing really going on in that movie, and that's not Anthony Mackie's fault. That's not. It's not because Captain America is black now. That's not the reason why the movie's not that great. It's the plot. It's what they did with it. It's the Red Hulk is always going to be General Ross, but it's like, do we really want the Red Hulk to be an 80-year-old man? So, but that's what I got out of all of that, and it's been about, let's say, 19 minutes too long on this review, but it was cool. I didn't feel anything scathing. I would love to know, how they use the Sue Storm character in the future movies. I feel like that, like, I guess that's what I'm trying to say. Scarlet Witch, to me, shouldn't be that strong. But she is. Captain Marvel's hella strong. Sue Storm can use her powers to do crazy stuff now. And we'll just see how the I'm just curious how her power is going to balance out with other people, because I never really thought she was that important. And sometimes it is cool to reintroduce characters, or give them an update, but it's like, do that for everybody, you know. So that's where we are. Talk to you later.